This is Recovery Lifestyles with Carmel. Recovery Lifestyles is committed to raising awareness and ending stigmas surrounding addiction and mental health. On today's show, I'll be chatting with Damien Ross, who is the founder of an app called Pocket Rehab. Pocket Rehab offers 24/7 real-time recovery support for its 100,000 members. Inside Pocket Rehab, there are certified recovery coaches, licensed professionals, recovery companions, and a support from community peers. Today, Damien's going to also give us a glimpse into his own personal story, which is the inspiration behind Pocket Rehab. So I'm here today with Damien Ross, who is the founder of Pocket Rehab, which is an app-based community for those struggling with mental illness and addiction. So Damien, welcome, and thank you for being here today. How are you?
Good, Carolyn. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It was really nice to get to know you, and looking forward to this.
Yeah. So did you want to share with our audience today more about who you are and your story?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up pretty normal childhood in New Jersey in the U.S. And, parents got divorced really young, but my grandfather stepped in. He was my, male figure, male role model, because we lived with my grandparents. I guess I was lucky enough to do that. I really did enjoy it because I got to spend so much time with them. Pretty much started smoking and smoking marijuana when I was 12 or 13. Some drinking a little bit before that. And yeah, it eventually just spiraled out of control. College was a lot. And when my grandfather passed, it was like having my father pass. And I kind of just went off the deep end at that point. But it was probably about 13 years of solid using at least something. The last 7, the harder stuff, which, obviously not proud of. But August 10th, 2012 is when I got myself clean. I entered rehab on the 9th, so I guess I consider the 10th my first clean day.
Awesome. So what was your turning point that led you into rehab?
There were a few. I guess at first I was intervened by my mother. My grandmother sat me down, and they're basically like, look, it's all over your face. We can see what's going on because, you look like hell. And so told me, I suggest you go here, 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 or here, but I would go to this treatment center because I guess my mom looked into it extensively, and I was super lucky that she was helpful and, really supportive through the whole thing. And that was like the biggest thing too, was the disappointment from your family. Like I wanted so badly to ask for help, had no outlet, no one to really go to because of the shame and everything and stigma. But when they came to me, it made it much easier, as strange, I guess, as that might sound to some people. But so I went to the treatment. I didn't listen to them in treatment. Wonderful experience. They were great. I just thought that, I'm taking all these opiates and whatnot, that I just need to break free from them for a while and I'll be good to go because, it's just a physical dependence. Yeah, I was obviously wrong. Relapsed pretty shortly after, maybe 2 weeks after treatment. And then it was on to harder things, the heroin and cocaine use was a lot prior, but now it was like, an everyday thing and a lot of it every day because if I didn't, I was going to fall asleep from the other stuff. So fast forward maybe 9 months, I'm standing in front of a mirror at a family event and like the bathroom and the door was just open, but I was just kind of looking through myself really, and my mom walked by, and when she walked by, there were tears coming out of my eyes, and I was just like, I turned and looked at her. I said, you need to help me, please. Like, she knew exactly what that meant too, because I guess, she was, obviously with me all the time pretty much. And so got myself back to treatment, but days leading up to that, I didn't know what was wrong. I went to the hospital. My limbs were swelling, all my extremities, my ankles were blowing up, and they were checking for blood clots. They were checking for everything. They found nothing, but at no point did I ever tell them I was on drugs. So when I told my mother, and she called the rehab again, I wanted to go back to the same place because I really did they were amazing program. The doctor she spoke to said, well, he's on drugs. It's from the drugs. So when I got there, they ran blood tests and pretty much told me if I didn't get the treatment in 36 to 72-hour window, I would have just died. My body would have just shut down. That was pretty much all I had to hear.
Yeah.
It was up from there, I guess, but it was hard to hear something like that. It was scary.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to take a step back, and you were talking about how you had the family support. And I feel that there's a lot of people out there in recovery or that are struggling to get inside recovery, and they don't have that family support. And so I think that's really powerful for you to share, saying that, you had it and it still didn't make a difference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they're wonderful and supportive, but they don't understand. As much as they read online or sit through the programs, they've never been through it. And I can tell them, like, hey, I'm having a craving. What? You're having a what? Let's go back to treatment.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost immediate, like 911 panic mode. So it's really hard to tell them, and there's no real trust either because of how many times they were lied to or stolen from or, everything they've gone through, which takes, if you're lucky, takes time to get back. Some people, they never get it back, unfortunately, but it's more of a showing and not telling situation for that.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's wow.
So I want to talk a little bit about where your idea came from for Pocket Rehab, because that's a pretty cool, community. And I mean, that had to have been quite the undertaking. So where did the idea come from?
Yeah. So basically when I came out of treatment, like I was saying, my family was supportive, but I had no one to talk to. A few friends knew, but again, even if they had a problem, they didn't, go for help or want to know anything about that. So it was tough. There's the shame, the stigma. I was never really a big fan of AA or NA, the 12 steps. I've done them. I totally, if it works for you, that's absolutely wonderful. Continue to do it. But, I worked the steps twice, had 2 sponsors and everything, but it just wasn't for me. So I kind of just needed an outlet. I needed someone to talk to when I needed, at that point in time. Because it could be a 30-second window or less from me using to, that craving, and the meeting might be at night. My sponsor might not pick up the phone, which, I've had and multiple people on the platform have had, where their sponsor just doesn't respond. People on the call list aren't picking up. So that's all they need as an excuse or myself, to go back out there. And so I wanted to create something that was, 24/7 on-demand help from people just like, myself, in recovery or looking for recovery. And that's kind of how it was born.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I mean, the face of recovery, in my opinion, is changing. And I just think back to, 16 years ago when I first walked in the rooms. I too had a lot of resistance and have gone through periods of time. I do attend meetings here and there, but I tend to have that resistance towards them. And I just feel that having an app and the digital community that's kind of arising in this is a really powerful step in the direction of, not feeling alone. Because I think a lot of times it's when we feel alone that we tend to pick up, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. A lot of people also, they'll start isolating.
Yeah.
And, I have no one to talk to. People don't understand. Well, we do. I can promise you somebody will be there. The community is growing. It's great. And it's actually incredible because everybody's been super supportive to each other. I think in 2 years, we've had maybe one argument breakout, if you will, because somebody didn't believe in medically assisted treatment, and the other person, they were like a hardcore NA 12-step. The other person was doing the MAT treatment, and they just got in an argument about, oh, you're not clean, you're not in recovery, which, I mean, it happens, but that's kind of not what we're about. We're just a supportive community, and however you get clean, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So do you want to share a little bit more about the community, how the app works, maybe what the features are on the app?
Yeah, sure. So we'll start with the basics. I mean, you have your recovery trackers, so you can track your sobriety or your clean time, and you can enter it for different, smoking, sex, drugs, alcohol, as many as you want. There's a money saver, so you can figure out how much you were spending on average and calculate, how much you're spending. It's just a little extra motivation. Then there's the community chat, which is basically a forum where people come, you select topics you want to talk about, or you can search for topics to kind of jump in on conversations. Now we have a new feature as well where people can become friends in the app. So it's like having a recovery companion once you enjoy speaking with somebody. You can do it whenever you want, talk, text, video. And there's journaling capabilities, so you journal and we store them on the secure HIPAA compliant server. So, we take your privacy really seriously, because that's another thing. You can be as anonymous as you want. Just a username. We don't really ask you for much when you sign up, just your phone number. And that's just for a verification code, so we know it's you every time you log in. And other features, like I guess the main feature would be the lifeline. Mm-hmm. So that's, you push that 24/7. Like I said, text, voice or video. Someone will answer, and you can, vent, or I don't know, talk about whatever you like, really, whatever's going on.
So, and who answers? Is it former addicts? Do you have professionals online?
Oh yeah, sure. So it's peer-to-peer. We have a bunch of recovery coaches. They don't, work for the app at all, but they are recovery coaches. So if they can present their credentials on the back end to me, just by emailing them, and I can verify that, then, you get a little check mark next to your name, and it lets the community know that you've gone through some sort of training. And, they help guide the conversation a little bit better. Most are either working in the treatment industry or have just been through this themselves. Mm-hmm. And we're actually going to be adding professionals to the app, but more of an alumni situation. So if you had gone to a treatment center, you can join the alumni group, stay in touch with them and the people that you've gone through it with. And everything is completely free, by the way. So just, all these features are just extra support anytime you want.
That's really amazing. And so how long has the app been operating or been live, I guess?
We launched the beta September 2016.
Okay.
And just slowly, we've done no advertising, and it's grown to about 70,000 people in the community. Not at any given time, but over the course of about a year, you'll see about 70,000 come through.
That's really amazing. So it sounds like it's working. Do you feel that?
I do. No, I definitely do, because that was the whole basis of it. If it doesn't matter how much clean time you have, or even if you are struggling, because we have a lot of family members or friends of those struggling that are looking to find help for their loved one, or they're kind of like the forgotten market because they go through it just as much. So we provide support for them as well. But if that person can talk you down from that craving, or if you're sitting at a bar or staring at that line, whatever it might be, but why not? If it works, and it has been, it's been working pretty well.
And so you can see that within the community, you see the people maintaining their sobriety. Is that?
Yeah, actually, I got an email from a gentleman from Montreal. He signed up when the app first launched, and it was like, one of those that brings tears to your eyes, like you're happy, because he said, I talked to you on a lifeline. I had nobody. I was detoxing by myself in my bedroom, and you spoke to me, and I'm coming up on 2 years very soon, and I just wanted to thank you. And that meant like the world, just to hear that. And there's been other stories too. That was one of the more recent ones, and also in your neck of the woods. So,
Out here in Canada?
Yeah. It was just amazing.
Yeah, go ahead, share. I love hearing stories of success stories, right?
Oh yeah, there's plenty where people have. I think another one had about a year, and they actually relapsed, and they deleted the app. I won't lie, they deleted it, and they said they regretted that because the second they deleted the app, they relapsed. So they're back now and they're never deleting it again. I think they got kind of complacent, that kind of happens too. The pink cloud scenario sets in sometimes. Everybody's different, I guess. Like, what is it, 6 months to 18 months? People have it at different points, but they're on like that pink cloud, like, yeah, everything's wonderful. And then bam, life kind of hits you in the face. And if you're not kind of involved in some sort of way with your recovery.
Right. And I agree with you. And I think that's just part of that learning curve almost, within recovery, is that we get to that point where it's like, if we're not doing the work, and maybe part of that work was logging into the app every day, and you all of a sudden something gets in your head that you decide that it just doesn't work anymore. It's very easy to just stop. And then all of a sudden, and I know that's what they call that double-edged sword, all of a sudden you're back in your old behaviors, all because of that one little thought. So I think that's really powerful. That's a powerful story, right? So,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. So what is your role now with the app?
Oh, so I mean, I'm the founder. I deal with basically everything because, we don't ask for a subscription fee or anything. The app is completely free. So I haven't really been able to hire many employees.
Right.
So I just pretty much do everything, but don't sleep much either. So the development, I don't do actual development. I have a team that I hire to do it, but and they're wonderful overseas in India. So my schedule is kind of crazy, up with the family and doing regular work during the day, and then the development part of it at night.
And
but,
so, yeah. So I just going to lead into it. Is the app growing in certain ways? Is there something that you vision that you'd like to happen with it?
I mean, I would love for it to be the go-to in the world. Just because of the name Pocket Rehab, it just kind of suggests anytime, anywhere. As long as you have cell phone service or Wi-Fi, at least you can use this for help. You can go to it and find maybe an interventionist for a loved one. You can find a treatment facility, a meeting, if you're traveling around the world, out of town, whatever, on business or what have you. There's always something there, and it's really great too because people use it at work as much as some of them are supposed to be on their phone. We can't kind of tell that craving, like, no, please don't come now. It just, it comes and you have to deal with it. So it's nice because you can use it anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, that's cool. So as we're about to close up, is there anything that you would really want to share? Is there anything that's on your heart?
I mean, I don't know. I've just been, I guess, doing this for so long now and going through it that a lot of people, like you were saying, feel like they're alone. And I guess if anybody out there is listening that feels that way, you're not, especially, in the community. But you can feel free to reach out directly to myself, Damien, Damien, at getpocketrehab.com, or just come check out the app. It's free in the Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Cool. And I'm going to have a link to the app under this video so that anybody listening that feels called to it or wants to try it, they have that easy access. So,
I appreciate it.
Damien, I really appreciate you. I'm so grateful to have met you. I just trust that whoever is meant to be hearing this message today is going to benefit from it. And yeah, hopefully we'll do this again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Karma. I really appreciate it.